Well, good morning, everyone. As Rosemary said, my name is Love, L-O-V-E, and I'm out of Sacramento working with the Deaf and Disabled Telecommunication Program and want to share with you some wonderful information during today's webinar. So what we're going to cover today is an overview of the Deaf and Disabled Telecommunication Program, an introduction to the California Telephone Access Program, some know it as CTAP, and also as California Phone. We will review an introduction to the California Relay Service, or CRS, and then discuss other available resources. How many of you are familiar with CTAP, California Phones, or the Relay Service? So far, a small group of you are familiar with us, and good. So a lot of you will be learning some good information today, and a few of you will then just be reacquainted with who we are and what we do. So the DDTP is a program of the California Public Utilities Commission, or the CPUC, as you see at the top of the screen. And that program has 3 programs that it administers. The California Telephone Access Program, CTAP, California Phones, as well as the California Relay Service, and more recently, speech generating devices. Now, through the PUC, we provide Californians who are deaf, hard of hearing, speech disabled, or have a disability with specialized telephone equipment and relay services through the CTAP and CRS program. The CTAP program provides free specialized equipment for individuals with disabilities. And CRS also offers free relay service so that individuals can make operator-assisted phone calls. Now, the speech-generating devices are available through the DDTP as a provider of last resort funding. In this webinar, I'm going to introduce participants to this free equipment and services that are available to disabled Californians through the DDTP. And today we're going to focus on consumers with a speech disability. Now, CTAP, or the California Telephone Access Program, more recently known as California Phones, has some simple requirements. 1, that you live in California. 2, that you have phone service, have some sort of difficulty when using the phone, either with seeing, moving, speaking, hearing, learning, or remembering. There's no cost, no obligation, age, or income requirement for this program. To be eligible, the person applying for the equipment must be certified by a healthcare professional as having a permanent or temporary disability. And next we're going to talk about some of those options that those equipment may provide. Now, through CTAP California Phones, we have a good array of equipment options, and they may assist with different needs. Some examples being the phones are amplified. And when I say amplified, I mean that they will increase the incoming volume, so significantly turn up what you hear. Some of the phones also have an outgoing amplifier, so they turn up what you say. Big buttons, you can see from some of the pictures there. Pretty large buttons, buttons that actually will talk back, and other different features. We have hands-free phones, speaker phones. You see one option of our picture phone on the bottom right. The upper right, you see an example of one of our captioning telephones. And we also have TTYs. Do I have any questions so far?
Love, we have a question in the chat box.
Oh.
How do we qualify as a medical professional to recommend CTAP phones, MDSLP, or special certification?
So through the Public Utilities Commission, those individuals approved to be a medical certifier are medical doctors, physician assistants, speech therapists, so SLPs, hearing aid dispensers, audiologists, optometrists, as well as if you are a California State Rehabilitation Counselor, you're also certified. Okay? You're welcome. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about some of the options that are available for people who have speaking difficulties. As I mentioned before, we have outgoing speech amplification. So if you have difficulty with increasing your voice physically, that is a challenge. The phone will do all the work for you by increasing your voice so the other person can hear you better. We also have speakerphone options on a lot of our phones so that you don't have to try and hold the receiver to have the conversation. You can talk hands-free. Incoming amplification, again, is for hard of hearing individuals who need the phone to be turned up for what they hear. Large buttons, the talking keypad, and a TTY telephone combo is also available. Some accessories that we have are artificial larynx devices. We have two in our program. One is the Cooperan, and the other is the True Tone. Both have the intraoral option, meaning you're actually having the stick held in your mouth, and we also have the one on the outside, and that's the True Tone. So you can press it up against where your larynx would normally be. We have an anti-stuttering and cluttering device. It works as a delayed auditory feedback device, as well as an amplified handset, which will increase, again, what you're saying. Through the California Relay Service, provides specially trained communication assistants to relay telephone conversations back and forth between people who are deaf, hard of hearing, or have a speech impairment, and all of those who wish to communicate with them by telephone. Currently, Hamilton is our one relay provider in the state of California. Hamilton also provides captioned telephone service. Services particularly relevant for individuals with speech disabilities are hearing carryover or speech-to-speech service. California Relay is available in both English and Spanish. Hearing carryover is for individuals who have the ability to still hear on the call but not speak. And they might use the uniphone to actually type what they want to say and still listen with their ears from the other person. And the speech-to-speech relay service, we're going to get more into shortly. Now, we're going to start with our first speech-to-speech training video. Rosemary, if you would, please.
Hello, this is California Pizza. How may I help you? Hello? I can't hear you.
I want a pizza.
Excuse me, I don't understand. Is there anyone else I can talk to?
Pizza, please.
Sorry.
Thank you. So what we saw was an example of someone with a speech difficulty attempting to make a phone call. Just placing the call on their own as they normally would. But Kevin in the video wasn't that successful. So what the speech relay offers is an opportunity to have a trained professional, excuse me, on the line with you to help revoice what isn't understood. And you, the caller, has the control over how much that operator interacts with you or with the other person when you place the call. Next, we'll talk about hearing carryover, where the caller with the speech disability is contacting someone without a speech disability and using the communications assistant to assist with placing that call. So for people who can hear but have difficulty speaking clearly, the user types on a TTY device or a uniphone and listens to the response from the person on the other end through a telephone receiver. It requires that the person with a speech disability have the dexterity and ability to type. And we'll watch a video next on that one.
Hearing carryover, or HCO, allows people with a speech disability who can hear to listen to the other person on the phone. The HCO user types his or her conversation for the relay operator to read aloud to the standard telephone user.
Hello, Ricky's. This is Dennis. Hello. A person is calling through the relay service. This is operator 6020. Have you received a hearing carryover call before?
No. What's this all about?
The person is using the relay service to communicate with you. The caller will type their conversation and I will read it to you. When you hear the words "go ahead," it is your turn to speak and the caller will be able to hear you. Please speak directly to the caller and say "go ahead" when you are ready for a response. Thank you. One moment for your call to begin. This is Don McCarthy. My van needs an oil change and a state inspection. I would like to schedule an appointment for sometime next week. Go ahead.
Sure. Could you get it here before 9 on Thursday morning? Go ahead.
Will it take a long time, or may I wait for it to be done? Go ahead.
The oil change is quick, and the inspection shouldn't take long, unless we find a problem. Go ahead.
Perfect. See you Thursday. Bye.
711 is the statewide telephone relay number that connects people who use standard telephones with people who use HCO.
Okay, so that was a video explaining how HCO would work using the relay. Now, Going back again to speech-to-speech. Speech-to-speech relay enables people who have difficulty with being understood to communicate on the telephone. When a call is made through speech-to-speech, a specially trained speech-to-speech communications assistant will be on the line to assist the caller. The CA, or communications assistant, will repeat what the caller is saying for the person on the other end. The caller can decide how much of his or her speech will be repeated, only words that are particularly difficult to understand, or every word that is spoken. Remember, I said the person with a speech disability is in control of how much or how often the communication assistant interacts on the call. No special equipment is needed, and the caller may use his or her own voice or a speech-generating device. People can also make a call to a speech-disabled person using the speech-to-speech relay. There is no charge for this service. However, long-distance charges apply to all non-local relay calls. And we'll move on to the third video.
If you have a speech challenge that impacts your ability to be understood on the phone, Speech-to-Speech Relay is for you.
Hi, please call Jesse Flores at 5555-1212.
One moment, please.
A specially trained operator will revoice your conversation to the person you're calling.
Caller, you may go ahead.
Hi, this is Tim.
Hi, this is Tim.
I want to order flowers from my niece, Allison Rose.
I want to order flowers for my niece, Allison Rose.
Great. We'll send her the Bundle of Joy basket and sign the card, Love, Uncle Tim.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for your order.
Okay, so that was an example of how using the speech-to-speech relay made it easier for him to place the call and be understood. A lot less frustrating, I'm sure. Another aspect of the speech-to-speech relay is visually assisted speech-to-speach relay. Traditional speech-to-speach may not work for everyone with a speech disability. There are limits to what a communication assistant can do, relying only on what she or he can hear over the phone. Visually assisted speech-to-speech is an enhancement to the traditional speech-to-speach service. With a VA speech-to-speach call, in addition to a basic phone call to the relay service, the caller is also using a webcam or video phone to connect with the CA at the relay call center. The one-way video connection allows the CA to see the user as they are speaking. This allows the CA to see the caller's mouth movements, the facial expressions, gestures, and possibly even cue cards like yes or no. Or alpha cards can also enable the CA to better understand and revoice the caller. Users of augmentative and alternative communication devices can also share the information they are typing using computer emulation. In order to access visually assisted speech-to-speech, you need to have the following: a computer with a webcam or comparable equipment to access the video service, a telephone near the video device for the voice connection to the VA speech-to-speech communication assistant. A device with a speakerphone is recommended. And lastly, have access to high-speed internet with a minimum bandwidth of 256K upload and download speed. I said lastly, but in addition, you do have to have the ability to operate the equipment independently or with assistance. I have a question, and I'll get to it in just 1 second. The equipment and internet service are required to make VA speech-to-speech calls but are not provided by the California Relay Service. Users are strongly encouraged to set up a customer profile that identifies the user's needs and call preferences. Those will help the CA to set up your call more quickly and facilitate your call more smoothly. You know, often when we call people, we have habits. You know, we call the same maybe people every day. We may want to leave the same standard message. So what we do with the profile is set all that up ahead of time so that it's already in the system and it helps to streamline the call. Now I see that Deborah's asking, can a cell phone be used for these services? Absolutely. A cell phone can be used, providing you have means to log in to, let's say, Skype. My mind just went blank. Because, again, with visually assisted speech-to-speech, the caller needs to be able to see, the CA needs to be able to see the caller. Okay? Any other questions before we continue? Okay. Moving right along. This is a testimonial by a good friend of the DDTP program as well. His name is Fred Neeson. He's an attorney for the Disability Rights of California. And as you can read, he has some personal experience with using the speech-to-speech relay. He's in a designated protection and advocacy agency for Californians with disabilities. He has cerebral palsy, which significantly impairs his fine motor control and speech. He's been using speech-to-speech since 1995, when during a summer internship, he came across a notice from the PUC hearings regarding speech-to-speech. Before using speech-to-speech, he had a lot of trouble talking on the phone because of his speech disability. Oftentimes, people who he'd call or he didn't know well didn't understand him because they weren't familiar with his speech and they weren't willing to try. They just didn't have the patience or didn't care. So more people would hang up, assuming he was drunk or trying to have a prank call or something like that. Often, he would have to get family or an attendant or coworkers to help him place the call. That would create other problems, mainly getting somebody to trust to make that specific call. With speech-to-speech and the trained communications assistant, it helps him so that he can be more understood, and it helps the person he's calling feel more at ease that they have help understanding him. They know he's not drunk or that he's, trying to make a prank call. Speech-to-speech allows him to use the phone independently, and it gives him a sense of confidence in knowing that everything is confidential. Speech-generating devices, or SGDs. For about the last year and a half, the PUC has started providing funding for speech-generating devices as the provider of last resort, meaning after a person has exhausted other means of funding for a speech-generating device, they can apply through the PUC as a source of last resort funding. The SGDs covered by this program are those identified as durable medical equipment. So whatever device it is that you and your speech therapist are considering, it has to fall under that durable medical equipment designation. To qualify for this program, the speech-generating device must meet the applicant's needs for access to, for use of a telephone network. And it's all based on a recommendation from that SLP. So if this is something that you're considering doing, you want to make sure you have your SLP on board, because they're going to be the one to be your advocate and your promoter in this last resort funding process. As part of its speech generating device efforts, and in response to the commission decision in December of 2013, the PUC Communications Division continues to move forward on planning of a trial of supplemental telecommunication equipment, which is defined as non-durable medical equipment, SGD-like devices, often maybe a tablet, but that's in the works. Resources. As we talked earlier about the equipment side of the program, the CTAP California phones, normally in a presentation I'm actually handing out these color certification forms. You guys have access to our website. You can go to californiaphones.org. This is what the front page would look like, and you can click on Apply Now to actually print out an application. That is what you want to take to the certified medical professional that I talked about, your MD, the audiologist, hearing aid dispenser, speech therapist, rehab counselor, physician assistant. They're all eligible to certify for the program. Other resources is the web address where we discuss relay calls. It's pretty self-explanatory. On the right side, you have quick links that explain how to make a call, how to customize your call, and then the specific traditional relay or speech-to-speech relay. Remember, I talked about using a customer profile. That, again, will help to customize your specific likes or preferences when you're placing a call, and it helps to streamline things for you. This is the web address that one could go to in order to apply for the Public Utilities Commission Speech Generating Device Last Resort Funding Program. This is where you want to have your speech-language pathologist on board to assist you with navigating this process. Any questions before I continue?
Yes, there is a question from Bruce Fleming at UCP San Diego. It's regarding the SGD Last Resort Funding Program. Does the requester recipient have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent legal resident, the green card, to have their application considered?
Specific to the speech generating device last resort funding program, my understanding is if you live in California and fall under the regulations of being speech impaired, qualify as a last resort form of funding, and have a speech therapist on board to assist you with making that call, I don't believe any permanent legal resident status or citizenship is required. That's something you can confirm on the site by looking in the application, but my understanding is there is no permanent green card or citizenship requirement. And as far as our CTAP California phone program, you just have to live in California. We don't get into legal status or citizenship. There are additional places that you can go specific to this specific SGD program. You can obviously visit the CPUC website, or you can review the webinar from April 21st webinar in the Abilities Tools AT Training Library. There's also a telephone number you can dial with questions concerning your SGD application. The phone number is 800-900-3985. So this is the phone number I just referenced, as well as an email address. That is for more information concerning the speech generating device application. Some other available resources is what we'd like to call a speech-to-speech starter kit. And what that is it's a packet of how-tos and frequently asked questions. It explains what speech-to-speech is. It's something that a practitioner or a user can have in their hand and have it as a available resource that's quick to reference. You can always contact us if you'd like us to mail you out one. Send us an email. My email information will be at the end of this presentation. As we've provided already, we've given you the speech-to-speech and VA speech-to-speech training videos available on YouTube. We also have a speech-to-speech training line that's available 24/7 because we understand that individuals who may want to try a new service are a little, maybe concerned, well, I won't know what to do, or I'm going to sound funny, or they won't understand me, or I'm too nervous to place a call. That's why we have the training line. It is a practice opportunity for you to use the speech-to-speech speech-to-speech service. So feel free to jump in and place a call and just tell them you want to test it out and see how the speech-to-speech relay works, and they understand it. DDTP field staff, that is someone like myself, we provide presentations and training to your team. You can call the toll-free number for scheduling. You can also request one-on-one training visits for potential users. So we are able to come to your home, sit with you in your environment with your equipment, and help you understand how to use speech-to-speech. We can sit with you while you play on the speech-to-speech training line. You can contact that number if you'd like us to do that for you. We are here for you and try to provide as many resources that we can. This is a map of our different service centers that are available throughout the state of California. The starred locations are our full-time service centers. The ones with the squares have limited hours, or what we call our satellite locations. You can always go to our californiaphones.org website or call the toll-free number, the 800-806-1191. It'll give you location, hours, and directions. Okay, so if you ever have questions about our program specific to the equipment, you can always call live operators who are available to answer questions. We have various languages available. Call the toll-free number. You can see the hours there. And lastly, for more information from practitioners, SLPs, and AT professionals, you want to contact me, Love Miller, Outreach Specialist in Northern California. You see my email address there, as well as the 715-3689. That is my actual cell phone. Because I'm often out and about in the field, that's probably the better number to reach me at. My desk phone may have a slight delay, as well as the manager of our California Relay Service, David Weiss, along with his email address and telephone number.